How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have the last of our aggression leaders to go over in our Understanding How to Build series, and for this one it's Sabine Wren. So you've gone over all the other aggression leaders, and we have the last one here before we move on to the cunning ones. And yeah, we're going to be helping you understand how to build Sabine, so that way you can build it to your own kind of way of playing, and also own playing style. Now, if you're looking for a list, unfortunately, we will not be providing a list in this, only just helping you understand how to build it yourself, so you can go about trying your own and basically improving your deck building skills. Now, before we get into the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop, and even then, you can click the notification bell to get alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you. So, without the way, let's go and have a look and understand how to build Sabine Wren. So this is Sabine, very simple leader and very nice one as well. Some very interesting traits, like she has the Rebel trait, which you can get a lot of benefit and a lot of cards that support that trait. You also got Mandalorian, which currently at the moment doesn't have much support in set 1, but could get support in at least in the next set and more sets. And you got Spectre, which currently she doesn't make as much use of the Spectres as say like the as Hera does, but she still has it. So if there's more Spectre support in the future, she can make use of it. Now she is a very she's the unit that deploys the earliest. She's the earliest deploying unit because she deploys when you get to 4 or less resources rather than like 5 or 6. Like 5 is the earliest outside of Sabine, so she's the one that comes down as fast as possible. And given that she deploys so early, she doesn't have the best stats. Like she only got 2 damage and only 5 health, so she's very easily to be taken out by Takedown, which is a 4 cost Vigilance event that can just KO something to 5 or less event or cost. But she does give you access to both the aggression and heroic trait cards without the aspect penalty, and her effect is similar on both sides. So when she's in the lead area, you can tap her to deal 1 damage to each base. It does damage to your base and to your opponent's base. But then when she deploys, she now has to attack to deal damage, but only does damage to your opponent's base. So while she is attacking your base for 2, she's also doing extra damage on top, because it's all about dealing damage and just finishing the game off quickly. Like she is the kind of like definitional aggro deck in Star Wars. So while she hasn't got the best stats, she does deploy very early and adds to a very good aggression because you can drop her onto the board even if you don't ramp by turn 3, essentially. So that's the leader covered. So there wasn't much covered because it's quite a simple lead. Now we'll go on to the different aspects. So as we said, the aspects Sabine provides are heroic and aggression. So you got both those 2 for the lead. And depending on what base you add with her, you can get a combination of either having Vigilance, Command, a lot of aggression, or Cunning with her. Now she can play in different ways, but there are ways that are better for her. Like for most leaders, there are some aspects that are more beneficial to that lead than other ones. But then Sabine is basically the same, where might be like 1 or 2 1 or 2 aspect combinations aren't great, but 2 that are actually really good. Like we got the most popular one being Command, really. But we're going to have a look and understand about these different aspects. Because remember, with the aspects, given your lead, you can have 3 in total. So you get both heroic and aggression from your lead, and then you can get an extra 1 from your base. And the importance of the aspect penalties, aspects, is the aspect penalty. So for every aspect on a card that doesn't match what's on your leader and base, you have to pay an extra 2 on top of its actual cost. So say if we had the combination of like a Vigilance base, so blue, and we have the top one, we have the combination of Heroism, Aggression, and Vigilance, so white, red, and blue. If you wanted to play a blue card or a red card, then it matches on your leader or base. You don't have to pay anything, you just pay the cost of cards. So if it costs 3, you just pay the 3 and that's it. If you want to play a command card, because it doesn't match what's on your leader or base, you have to pay an extra 2 on top. So if you want to play a 3 cost, with 1 aspect that doesn't match, you have to pay 5, because you have to add an extra 2 to the cost of the card. And if you want to play a command and villainy card, so a green-black card, and since neither of them match anything on your leader and base, you have to pay an extra 2 per aspect, which means if 2 don't match, you have to extra 4 on top of it. So for a 3 cost that doesn't match with 2 aspects, you're paying 7 when you normally when it normally costs 3 in other combinations. So that's the importance of the aspect penalty, meaning that if you don't have things that match, you've got to pay more resources than normal. But if you have them that matches, you have to pay to just put it on the card. So before we get into the different aspect combinations and what they offer to go with Sabine, we have the ratios. So I do make sure we go over this in every single video of these Understand series, because it's best to make sure everybody understands why you would want to include 3 copies of card, why you would want to include 2, why you want to include 1, because you include up to 3, so we're quite beneficial in that we don't have 4 copies of card like other games. It's 3 copies of card maximum, which makes it a little bit cheaper when getting a playset compared to others. And there are differences in how many copies of a card you want to include. Like 3 copies of card is normally things you want to see as much as possible, as early as possible. So, or see as much as possible, really. And Green Squadron A-Wing is a really nice one because it's a very early unit you can play at 2 costs. You can play it as early as turn 1. And then it does a lot of damage to be very aggressive, which how Sabine wants to play. So you want to include 3 copies of that. Then you have Guerrilla Attack Pod. This is more of a late game one, where it requires you to get to 6 resources, which is like as early as turn 5 if you don't ramp. And while it has some good stats, you don't really want to have too many of these early because they're going to clog your hand, you're going to end up charging them, or if you want to keep them in your hand, you're going to be holding off and be on like having things to actual play, but holding on to these. So things like this, like later game plays, normally you want to have lower copies, like at least 2 copies, so you can eventually see them when you get to the later game, but not have too many clog your hand in the early game to make it so you can't really have anything to play, or have to charge them more early so you don't see them in the late game. So 2 copies is normally what we have for later game and bigger costing cards. Then you have 1 copies of card. These are normally like the tech choices, really. When it comes down to 1 copies of a card, you normally want to have they're normally cards that it could be useful in some situations, but not useful at all. So like cards that if you see them and the situation is good, it's fine, you can use it, and if it's not fine, you can always charge it. And if you don't see them, you don't really care too much if you don't. So normally your tech choices that come up with certain kind of like specific kind of situations that could be handy. So you want to include them, but you only have them like turn up loads. So you just put 1 copy in, so that way it's not too bad if you don't see it, and not too bad if you do see it. So hopefully that explains the ratios of if you want to include 3, 2, or 1 copies of a card to help you out. So now we've kind of understood about the leader, what the kind of like game plan is for Sabine, how she wants to kind of play, and what they like understand a bit more about the ratios. We'll go on to the aspect combinations to see what you get access to and what are the benefits of having each different combinations. So like we always do, we start off with a double aspect because these are the important ones to cover. Because with double aspect, you lose access to another card, like you have a less of a card pool because you lose access to another whole aspect. But you do have some powerful double aspect cards like these 3. Now, currently with set 1, you only have 3 double aspect cards in each combination. So each aspect has only 3 copies of cards that have double aspects. So currently in the first set, you've got kind of have a lack of a card pool where you just got aggression, and just these 3 is the benefits of it. But in future sets, it will get stronger and will get better as we get more cards in each different aspect, and also get more double aspect cards. But currently for set 1, if you go for double aggression, you do sacrifice a whole other aspect in a smaller card pool for just these 3 additional cards. And while it can be quite nice, they're not the best benefit of for Sabine. Like you do have a lot of good cards that make use of Sabine being aggressive as possible, and Rallying Cry is a good one to have with it. If you can get drop down a board of a lot of units, you can make them all a lot stronger, so you can push a lot more damage. But not the best choice really. You can give it a try, but it's not as great as going to with some other aspects. They're going to get more options to have more optional things that are useful for it. Because while you won't have too much, you have to like make up some space that you would have for cards that aren't great just to fill your deck size. Whereas with a different aspect, you can get more cards that actually help you and aren't dead most of the time. They do have a useful base because with each aspect you have 3 bases. You have 2 vanilla bases that have 30 health, and then each aspect has a rare base that has less health at 25, but the sacrifice in 5 health allows you, HP allows you to give you an expert action, which is an effect you can use once per game. And for Tarkin Town, it's still 3 damage to damage non-leader unit, which isn't the most amazing, but like because you can't straight up do 3 damage, that would be a bit too strong. But it does allow you to finish off anything that you try to take out with damage but couldn't, and then finish off with Tarkin Town, which is nice. So double aggression isn't the best way to go Sabine. You can always try it; it could be pretty nice, but you lose some benefits that other aspects give, which is probably a lot more beneficial. At least for set 1, set 2, and set 3, and further sets could be double aggression could be better, but currently for set 1 isn't the best way to take it. So then we have Vigilance. So this is more of a more protection kind of more like a late game kind of like a control kind of aspect. And the rare base you get for this is Security Complex. So this epic action is given a shield token to a non-leader unit. Not the best for Sabine because you just want to be going ham and just basically hitting face. Just keep attacking their base to kind of deal damage as quickly as possible. So taking an action just to protect something isn't the best. There's not much you want to protect because you just want to bring out things, just attack as much as possible. You do have some quite nice units in the heroic side of it, like Restored Arc and Yoda being like the cheaper costing units that also heal your base. That way, the damage you're doing to yourself, you can really heal it off. So you've got that kind of nice thing going for you. So you can kind of survive against opposing aggression. But then that's where it kind of like ends when it comes to the cheaper side of heroic units for Vigilance or Blue. And you do have some bigger units on the other side, like you with the Spectre aspect, you do get access to, well, you do have access anyway to with this kind of this aspect combination with other Spectres like Kanan and Ghost here, but you don't get as much benefits to them as you would in Hera. So, well, there are like nice things you can add together. They're not the best, and of course, they're quite late game things, which don't really go with the aggressive way of Sabine's kind of way of playing. But you do also have like access to Obi-Wan as well as a way to kind of protect yourself from opposing aggro if you get there in the later game. But you don't get to make as much use of its effects. So you have some nice units in Heroic, but not the best ones, and not too many lower costing ones to go with Sabine's aggressive route. And even then, in same with the non-heroic side, you do have some interesting units like a regional governor being a cheaper one, but it's more of a control one. Be able to like name a card and stop your opponent from playing it. So if it helps you with knowledge, it's more a good side deck card. You do have a rugged survivor as well, where if you can get Sabine out and keep her around, which isn't the best, given that she's quite low in her stats, it can draw you a few more cards to kind of help. But it's more of a late game one. Say with System Patrolcraft, more of a late game kind of play. Is more used for defense to kind of like protect your base. So not great for an aggressive one. But you do have some good events and upgrades. Like you have Electro Staff to kind of like power up Sabine if you want and make it so she takes less damage when attacked, and even Takedown, which can even like is like a very good unit for taking out weaker units with less HP, and can even take out Sabine before she even gets to do anything when she's deployed as well. So it's one thing you got to watch out for is Takedown when it comes to the 4 resource or more plays. So Vigilance is the best way to play her, but it's got some nice options, but it's not the most effective way to play her unless you want to go for a more control route rather than go aggression. And then we have Command, one of the more popular ways to play aggressive decks for the heroic side, because you have Energy Conversion Lab as your rare base, and its epic action allows you to play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give ambush. Now you do have to still pay the cost of the card that you play, so you're not playing the card for free, you're still paying the cost of it, but you're given an ambush. That's the benefit. You're playing a card with ambush when it would not normally have ambush, hopefully, unless you're playing it weird like that. But this is really nice because normally when you play a card and it comes in rested or exhausted, so you can't really attack with it at the same turn, but ambush allows you to come in with a unit and ready an attack straight away into another unit. Not a base, but another unit, so you can allow you to give you a bit of board control, which is quite nice. And in heroic side of Command, you have some very good cheap units that can like help with Sabine's whole aggressive route, with things like Momothma to give like a rebel that you can basically just bring down quite cheap, allow you to find other rebels to get that consistency. Then very strong ones like Battlefield Marine and Echo Based Defender, like very nice units that come down quite strong. They don't really have too many skills and often like pack a big punch as well. Like so good costing cards for their cost, well good stats cards for the cost. And you have some very good events like a Rebel Salt allow you to be even more aggressive with the Rebel route as well, because where Sabine is a Rebel and you have a lot of Rebels in heroic side, you can basically push more damage quickly with Rebel Assault, because it's a 1-cost unit that allows you to attack with a Rebel and give it +1 for attack, and then attack straight away with another Rebel after and give it +1 to attack. So attack with 2 things straight away in 1 action, while also giving them extra 1 power each to those attacks. And if you do go for a later route when it comes to Ewing playing Sabine with Command, you have access to Ewing Reinforcement, allow you to look at the top 10 cards and play up the 3 units with combined total 7, so you can get out these 3 units on board, just basically spam out 3 units straight from the top of your deck, so you can swarm the board. But it's a later game play, but then you have Ramp in Sabine, so you can always use Ramp if you want to have that as an option, or have it as a like a card you can put in, or have mained for if you go against control deck, or sided for against control decks as well. And on the non-heroic side, you've also got some very good units by like Colonel Yularen, being a card that comes in, can help heal, so you can heal off the damage you're doing to yourself from Sabine's effects, so you can help against aggro decks. Steadfast Battalion, a very good card combined with Energy Conversion Lab's effect to come in, give it ambush, because since you can deploy your leader like quite early and anytime you want, as soon as you get to 4 resources, you can always deploy Sabine and then have Steadfast Battalion come in with ambush and take out something. That's huge because on attack, if you control a leader, you can give a friendly unit 2/2 for that phase, which even itself to make it so it can take out something, can do 7 damage to something straight away. You even got good space units like Soaring Starfighter, where if you've got the initiative, you have a bit of healing, so you can heal your damage you're doing to yourself. And you have some very good events like Resupply the Ramp and even Strike 2 to allow you to take out big, allow a friendly unit to do damage to another unit equal to its power, so you can take out things without needing to attack into them as well. So Strike 2 is a really nice one to help deal with like big things that normally take quite a few attacks from little units to kind of take out. And this is one of the more popular aspect combinations for Sabine, because it offers you some very good, cheap, strong cards in the command side. Will also allow you to get a lot more swings and be as aggressive as possible. Then we have Cunning. So this is one that I've seen as being a popular choice for like the developers, being with Sabine, like with Red Heroic in general, just having a nice bit of control with it. And like we saw with the Vigilance side, because there's no Spectre cards in command apart from Hera as the leader. You've got some Spectres in command as well. So you've got Chopper and Ezra being some very nice units. Chopper allowing you to like have a raid 1 if you control another Spectre unit, which luckily Sabine is a Spectre unit, and allow you to like give a bit of mill, but also like kind of lock out events if you get lucky with a mill. And then Ezra allowing you to like do some good damage and then potentially play more things off top of your deck, given that you can pay for the card as well. And it doesn't have the best base in command for its rare one, so it's got similar to skillless, vanilla base that 30 health, but then one rare base that's 25 health that allows you to have an epic action, and its effect is to minus a non-leader unit by 4 attack for the phase, which isn't the best, but it could mean it make it easier for you to take out something that's a problem by making it weaker so you can attack and not take too much damage back when taken out by attacking, because that's how your main way of dealing with things is by hitting it with things as well. Now you've got some really nice units as well, like Rogue Operative being a very nice one, being 3 costs with good stats, and also has Saboteur to make sure you're definitely going to your opponent's base, ignoring Sentinel, and even a Raid 2 so it hits hard when it does attack, and even Millennium Falcon as well being a unit that can even attack basically end of play ready rather than exhausted like most units do, and be able to attack straight away, but there is a cost to keeping it on the board if you want to. And then Bamboozle being a nice way to kind of like control, and you don't even have to pay the resources because you can always cheat it out, like ignore the cost of paying it, but discarding another Cunning unit instead as well. So that's the heroic side. So obviously some nice stuff in the heroic side of Cunning, but you also have the non-heroic side, being like things like cheap ground units like Greedo and Crafty Smuggler, just to push and do damage. Crafty Smuggler even coming shielded, so it's like protected from damage once, and Greedo being like hitting hard for such a cheap unit. And you got some good space units in like Outer Rim Headhunter, where if you got Sabine out, you can start getting the benefit when it attacks. You can get tap something down. There's also non-leader unit, or even Pirate Starfighter, and you put cards back into your hand, like things things that attack. You want to kind of like taking damage. You want to like go back to your hand, so then the damage off, and you can play them back out again, or make use of things that have on-play effects, and also hits quite hard with two power and raid 1 as well, and very good stats for its cost. And even Surprise of Strike, you got some very good events in Cunning as well, and even ones that allow you to attack and have basically do more damage as well, like just basically hit like attack, but then have more power, have a power boost for that attack as well, so you do more damage, which kind of fits with Sabine's aggressive route. So Cunning's a good way to play it because you can be very aggressive with it and a bit controlling as well, while you do put on some aggression. And also, because you're a heroic card, you've got access to like different and some nice heroic cards, like Fleet Lieutenant being another way to kind of push damage. We needed to add more damage to other cards. General Dodonna allow you to boost up your rebels as well, because most of your cards are going to be rebels, like cheap cost of rebels. And even Medal Ceremony allowed you to give a experience token to up to 3 rebels that attack the same phase. So you can even boost things after you put a lot of aggression in, boost them up so they can hit more damage for the next turn as well. So that's all from the different things you can add thanks to your base and other stuff. And now, with just Sabine on her own, she offers you cards that are both in aggression and aggression heroic as well. So the aggression and heroic side, you get some really nice units. Like you got Sabine in herself in a ground unit, where she's even got a little bit of protection. Where if you've got at least 3 other aspects among other friendly units, she can't be attacked unless you give her Sentinel, and she has to be attacked. But also like doing more damage just like her leader does, hitting for 2 damage, and also be able to deal either 1 damage to a base or to a defender. K2SO being a very annoying unit, which is once it's aboard, it's very awkward to deal with because it's very good with its very good stats. So it's for 4/4, even has overwhelm, so if it does more damage, if it any excess damage on a unit goes to the base instead. And then as well, you got when it is eventually defeated, you can either make your opponent discard a card or deal 3 damage to their base. You can even add to the whole aggro aspect, and it's a very, very, very good card for Sabine. You also got very good space units in Green Squadron A-Wing and Red 3, which come down quite cheap and just hit hard because they got rage, so it gives them a bit of attack boost when they attack. And even Red 3 giving all your other friendly heroic units an extra rate 1. And for a cools being a nice little event that allows you to put more, like basically just hit more damage to base. Also rearrange the top 4 cards of your deck, and if you go for a pure heroic build, which all your cards are heroic, you're guaranteed to hit 4 damage every time you use it, and that's 4 damage for free resources. It's very good. And you can even rearrange the cards you see at the top, so you can either ditch cards you don't want from the top 4, and even rearrange it so you control the ones you want out of those 4. And onto the just normal heroic side, or non-heroic side of it as well, you've got some very good cheap units too. You've got Benthic Tubes and Petition Insurgent, which, while you control other aggression units, you get some benefits, like Benthic, allowing you to, when it attacks, give a friendly heroic unit rate 2 for that phase, to make them so they swing for 2 more damage than usual. And Petition Insurgent, while you control another aggression unit, gives itself rate 2, so it can swing for more damage if you control other aggressive units. You can have Wolf as a nice way to prevent your opponent from being able to heal damage off their base, which is when it's played or when it attacks, you make it so your bases can't be healed. And even as Saboteur, so you can kind of force go into the base or not be denied by Sentinel. You even got Sabine Wren Fighter as well. It's a nice cheap unit to kind of like knock off upgrades off your opponents. If you get like knock off upgrade boosts like experience or upgraded cards or shields and stuff like that. And even Precision Fire allow you to kind of force through attacks with events, allow you to attack with a unit and give it Saboteur. And if it's a Trooper, which you can have some things like the first 2, Benthic and Precision Insurgent being Troopers, give it a bit of a attack boost for attack as well. So you want to be very aggressive. Like Sabine is a very aggressive leader. It's always just about pushing damage to kind of win the game quickly and fast, get all over and with quickly. So you've got very nice units that can kind of fit with it. And you can either go with like Vigilance if you want to go for a more controlling way. You can go for that. You've got Command as a way to kind of control board and hit hard with some very strong units in that aspect combination of command and aggression. And you've got Cunning allowing you to have like a lot of tricks and like do the same thing of pushing damage, but also allow you to have a bit of control to kind of like mitigate decks that ever aggro decks or even control decks as well. So hopefully that has helped out and help you understand how to build Sabine. Sabine is one of the top aggro decks and one of like the cheapest decks to build as well. So it's a very nice one for people to get into. Very cheap to build, very aggressive, and very effective as well. So that is it for today's video. Hopefully that helps you understand how to build Sabine, like the best way it suits you, best combination that suits you as well, and also understanding like helping you with your deck builder skills. So that is it for the aggression ones. So for the next one, we'll be understanding how to build Boba Fett. So we're moving on to Cunning. We'll start with the dark side, like we normally do, with Boba Fett. So if you're interested in that, look forward to that when it comes up. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.